This is a hard question for me in a way because from the perspective of what am I most proud of, it's like I'm reluctant to start taking credit for or being proud of things where I feel like the staff kind of did all the work and I was sort of there. If I shifted it a little bit and say, well, what did I do that I was proud of? Is a couple things I think. One is I'm proud of the work that the board did in terms of term limits and restructuring and governance changes. And again, I didn't do, Kathleen kind of lifted a lot of that, right? And then just myself, I have to say that I guess I'm proud of the fact that I was a board chair for 5 years. And so my peers and folks had confidence enough in me to, kind of let me do that. And then when when we had a gap of 1 year, they said, well, John, why don't you do this? And I was like, well, I guess I didn't screw it up the prior 4 years. so I'll take some credit for that, I guess.
I'm proud of a number of the properties and of our projects and programs like the scholarship committee and all the things that we do to benefit our residents. But two things that give me the greatest sense of pride about it. One is annual National Night Out celebrations, where our staff and residents come out and essentially have a block party celebrating the place that they live and the community where they live. And that's a lot of fun. I've attended a lot of those celebrations. And the other thing that I really have enjoyed are the all-company meetings, where our whole staff, hundreds of employees now, gather and for recognition and for enjoyment, some team building activities, and it's just gratifying to see how far the organization has come from the handful of employees when I started back in '85 till today, when we have 500 employees. It's amazing.
My favorite is a fairly new one, Hana Gardens in El Cerrito. Not because it had such interesting or unique transactional aspects, but it utilized the history of the site as part of the project. It was on a site that had the old flower shop that was owned by Japanese Americans, and they lost their farm and the business in World War II, and came back and resuscitated it. Well, that flower shop is now the community center for the senior center. And then they told the history of the Japanese American flower industry in West Contra Costa County. So I really like that. I think there's a lot of projects that Eden has that have those sorts of historical aspects.
I think the thing that I'm really so impressed by and was happy to be an observer and a participant in is the growth in Eden from the kind of smallish organization it was when I joined it, and even smaller when you guys joined it, and how it has evolved and developed and grown into the very substantial, well-qualified and very committed organization that it is now.
Well, what I'm most proud of is, quite frankly, when I first joined the board, the concept of development was all I could think of. Development. What did that mean? Well, it meant obviously our physical development, the structures, our housing, the new communities we enter. Then I realized soon afterwards, well, we do lots of types of development which I can help us do. We do development in terms of providing resident management, property management, resident services, and all that helps us to instill more of pride into the communities we are part of. So the concept of development for me was the ability to expand that meaning to cover more about what we really are doing is not only developing physical communities, but providing a legacy that's going to be there for generations. And I can drive down the street and say, wow, I had something to do with that. Just a little bit, but I drive by and I slow down sometimes just to look at it and admire it.
There's an Eden property.